record. Okay, so we stopped at question, what, 35 last time?
35, yeah.
Yeah, so let's see the other type of questions. So again, these are good to work on because they're just typical type of Nat 5 exam question that you might get. So whenever I see something like this, 3x squared plus 3x minus 7, and giving your answer correct to one decimal place, you open your formula sheet and you use this quadratic formula. Now, your work is to identify what A is, what B is, what C is, knowing that we write the quadratic as ax squared plus bx plus c. Okay, once you've identified that, I usually tell my student to calculate the discriminant first, which is the part that is under the square root. Remember, you can still get the mark if you write the full fraction with square roots and everything, but it's been seen more often than not that you will do less mistake if you calculate what's under the square root on its own. Do the calculation. So I found 93, and you'd be surprised, this most of the time give you a mark by just doing this first line. So I've identified B, which is 3, A 3, and C -7. You just plug that exactly the same way you see it into your scientific calculator, and the answer should be 93. Okay. Next, I'm going to find my two x's now that I've got my discriminant. So minus b, if b is 3, negative b or minus b is just minus 3, plus root 93. You put the long line there for the fraction over 6. And again, you enter exactly this into your calculator, and you should be able to get this answer. So if I'm asked to give my answer correct to one decimal place, I put maybe 2 or 3 and then ... And for the second one, you do the exact same, but instead of the plus, you've got the minus. And that answer here, I put ... as well. And to get my last marks, you need to give your answer correct to one decimal place. To do that, you look at your second decimal place, and that will decide if it's 5 or over, that the first decimal place is incremented by 1, meaning you round up. Or if it's less than 5, we just round down. You don't take 1 from it. You just, instead of 1.107, it just becomes 1.1. And these should be your two answers, -2.1 and 1.1. Easy enough. Again, just practice. But formula list for this question. Okay, so now the next question, you can let me know in the comment if you got any question, or you can unmute yourself and say if you've got any
I thought that
to
was
say.
fine.
Okay.
Just practicing those ones, like,
yeah.
Sometimes I made a slip and I keep it in my calculator and then just go
All right, it's putting in maybe the wrong.
It's just keeping in. I prefer writing out.
Yeah.
And then see.
The common mistake we see is, you see if you got a b that is negative, when they write b square, instead of putting open bracket, the negative number, close bracket, and square it, they forgot those brackets. And if you forget those brackets, you will get a wrong value.
Yeah.
So that's the most common mistake that we see.
See, when they ask us, we'll determine the nature of the roots. Those questions, sometimes they've had them in non-calc papers. They're tough, but then you know that sometimes they're going to write real or distinct roots or non-real, or something like that.
Yeah. Okay, so the next question here, we've got to factorize 6x squared minus 24x minus 30.
I mean, highest common factor first.
Yeah, so you need to, especially when I see three numbers that are all three even, even if you can't remember any multiplication table, they can all be divided by 2. Okay, even divide by 2. Now, can we do more than that? Yeah, usually to see if a number is a multiple of 3, you just add the digits. 3 plus 0, that's a multiple of 3. 4 plus 2 is 6, that's a multiple of 3. 6, obviously, I know the minimum in my 3 timetable, that's a multiple of 3. So it's even, and it's a multiple of 3. What's 2 times 3?
6.
So that means we can factorize using 6. Okay, so I'm going to put 6, open bracket, x squared minus 4x minus 5. And now this is much easier to factorize than having that 6x squared there. Okay, so I'm looking for two numbers. If I time them, I get -5, and if I add them, I get -4. So straight away, one of the two numbers should be, the bigger of the two should be negative. That's usually what I look at first. Then to get 4, my two numbers needs to be, especially if I want to time them to get a 5, my two numbers needs to be quite far apart from each other. And I'm thinking, oh, to get 5, if I just do 5 times 1, and then I do 5 minus 1, I will get a 4. And then you know that it's 5 and a 1, and -5 and +1 in order to get that negative there. So that's the wee process that you should be going through your mind. I know some teacher would tell you, do trial and error, but if you keep doing trial and error, whereas you can find the two numbers by having a process in your head, how am I going to get there? What are the numbers telling me here? Two things. The bigger of the two is going to be negative. And the second thing, because when I'm going to add them, I'm going to get 4. The two numbers are quite widely separate, because I know one is negative, one is positive. Okay, so it's going to be a subtraction. So that's the process. So a plus b, a minus b, -5 and +1. Those are my two numbers. Remember, to factorize, you need to put the 6 again. So it's 6 times x minus 5,
X plus 1.
x plus 1. And if you were asked, find the roots of this function, if this was a function, you need to factorize first. And the roots are x equal 5 and x equal -1.
Mhm.
Because the roots
Yeah.
would make x minus 5 equals 0 and x plus 1 equals 0.
Mhm.
Okay. So the difficulty here was to make sure that you find. To be honest, even if you hadn't found that you needed 6 to factorize, you could use MAM. You'd be there for a long time, because you would need to find two numbers. When you time them, you get 180, because 6 times, you will get the answer, but it will take you a while. Okay. So that's why it's much easier to factorize first by finding that highest common factor. In a sale, a book now costs £36. What was it worth before a 20% discount? So you've got two schools of thought here. But the easiest one would probably be saying that you got a discount of 20%. If you started with 100%, that means you've only paid 80% of the original price. Yeah. So if 80% is 36,
36.
So
what would be 100%? You find 10% first.
Yep.
Once you find 10%, you time it by 10,
Mhm.
and you get 45. So if 80% is 36, 10% is 36 divided by 8, because you've got 8 times 10 of it. Yeah?
Yep.
And would you need to do the fraction? Not really, because you can just write here. Let's say if it was me, I get 36 divided by 8. And I'm thinking, what's the best way not to struggle with this? I've got a fraction, 36 divided by 8. I can half both number.
Write it down, yeah.
So 18
Mm-hmm.
divided by 4. Oh, I can half both numbers.
Again.
9 over 2. And now I know if I've got £9, I half it, I'll get £4.50. And that's what I keep telling people. When I was at primary, I hated when the teacher was telling me, oh, you need to do the fraction, you need to divide the old way, 36. How many 8s in 36? And I hated decimal with a vengeance. And it was like a nightmare. Someone showed me this. And I'm going, oh, I'm very good with dividing by 2s. Bang, you get your answer without even thinking about it twice. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you'd be surprised how many kids get put off by math because of something as trivial as this.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So if you can show them what fractions are and how powerful they are, then you're probably going to help them in the long run. Or you're going to make them not to hate math that much. Okay. So that was just a parenthesis in my old life. Find the area of the triangle. Yeah, whenever I say to folks that I didn't like math when I was at primary because of division, they all laugh and say, how did you manage to become a math teacher?
And now you're a maths guru.
No, I wouldn't say that.
If you can pull off getting those Nat 5 seniors through, yeah, you'll get a maths guru.
Whew, no. That-
Magician more like.
yeah, Mr. Motivator more like. I'm trying.
Yeah.
I've been
Good
trying hard.
luck with that.
Okay. So area of triangle, you use this area of a triangle given to us by the formula sheet. So I've got two sides and an angle. What I need to do is just half one side times the other side, sine the angle that is between the two sides. Okay. Straightforward. Half 21 times 19 sine 110. A question without a calculator, they would tell you on the side, if sine 110 equal, I don't know, a certain value, what would be the area of the triangle? That could be a question without a calculator, for example. Then you just plug the value given to sine 110. Okay. So if I plug that in my calculator, I get 187.47 centimeters square. And because I've rounded it to 2 decimal place, I put just next to it 2 dp. Yeah, I should have put there 187.4686. Or if I had, yeah.
That formula's in that formula's in the formula sheet, isn't it? With the area of a triangle.
That one there, formula sheet.
Will that be an internal exam as well? That'll be.
Yeah.
That'll be there. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
not
Everyone will get the same formula sheet. Yeah. Next question. Again, if I had decided to put one decimal place, I need to put 187.5. Yeah. So whatever I decide, you can't leave it 4686 ... Obviously, you need to make a decision. So it's up to you, whichever is the easiest. Okay. So a good rule of thumb is for that kind, because you look at the number given to you, a one decimal place is probably okay. Or the 3 significant figures would be fine as well. Now sketching, label the intercepts and turning points. Okay, so to sketch this, first thing first, because it's in the factorized fashion, I've got my two roots. My two roots is when y equals 0. So I've got x equal -2 and x equal +3. Yeah, so those are my first two roots. Okay.
Yep.
I just did x plus 2 equals 0, x equal -2, x minus 3 equals 0, x equals 3. The next thing is to find my intercept. Y-intercept when x equals 0, that means we're going to cross the y-axis. When x equals 0, I get a 2 times a -3, which is -6. So far I've got 3 points. Now, I'm going to start, before I draw this, I'm going to check for my turning point. Where is the
Two.
turning point? So is at 3. So you add one root to the other root. So 3 add on -2 divide by 2. That's where the turning point is going to be. So 3 minus 2 is 1. 1 over 2 is 0.5. So you can write 1 over 2 if you want.
0.5 out.
Some people prefer to write 0.5, but you could have kept 1 over 2. But like I said, fraction is probably harder. When they've got a half plus a 2, they don't see it straight away. That's 2.5. Okay, but 2.5 is just 5 over 2. And 0.5 minus 3 is -2.5. So positive 2.5 times -2.5, which give us -25/4.
Can't go any further than that.
No,
You
25
can't.
divided by 4, which is just 6.25. So you've got -6.25 if you prefer.
That's a really horrible looking graph. Like this.
I know.
So if you were to, yeah, if you were to draw this,
I didn't
you've
like
got
this.
everything you need.
No.
So the way I would start it, I would put my roots first, -2 and 3. Then I would do my intercept when x equals 0, -6. And because it's a half there, that's my turning point, 0.5 minus 6.25. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's all they needed to give you all the marks. Label. They didn't tell us, give us the coordinates. So if they had asked me the coordinates, then instead of -2 here, I would put -2, 0, and 3, 0. The same way here, the turning point was given with coordinates. If they just say label, you don't have to put the 0, 0 or the negatives, the 0, -6. Okay. So let's have a look at the next set of 5 questions. So they're not too hard, to be honest. They just
Yeah.
I thought 40 was the toughest. I don't like parabolas.
Oh,
So-
these drawing in the
I don't like.
graphs.
I just don't like it, and sorry, I just don't. I just hate it. I just find it just
So
not
the thing is,
enjoyable.
yeah, you can do a happy face
Yeah,
when
I know
the
whole
x square,
minimum maximum turning
and
point.
then the intercept. Yeah, at least if to score marks, you can say the y-intercept is when x equals 0. So if you put when x equals 0, y-intercept is at y equal -6. That's 1 mark. Then the roots would be another mark. So you've got 1,
Yeah.
2, the turning point 3 marks, and then 4. So you should be able to get 2 marks even without drawing anything.
Yeah, I know. I remember the form of the turning points like -b over 2a, but then that's when you're using. That's when the formula is maybe in a different format.
Yeah,
when
so you
go-
could
Yeah.
do that. You're allowed to do that, but then you would need to expand this. So
Yeah, exactly.
it's okay. You would just go x square
X squared. Yeah.
plus 2x minus 3x, that's -x minus 6. And now you need to identify a is 1,
Mhm.
b is -1, and C is -6. So you could go that way, and minus B over
Minus B.
2A is minus 1 divided by 2. So that again will give you the mark.
Yeah.
Because that is easy to expand, right?
Yeah.
If that's the thing that you remember during the exam,
Mm-hmm.
just go for it. Just go with what you remember the most, and say, okay, now I can see the turning point. Some other people would not even write here 3 minus 2. They would start the drawing and say, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My turning point's got to be halfway between these. So 1, 2.5, and they just go there. That's my turning point when x equals 0.5, and they just go like this. And you get the mark by saying that turning point is at x equals 0.5.
Just give that a go. Just give that a go.
Yeah. So there's more than one way. So here I just put the most common used way: roots, intercept, turning points, and then drawing. But
Cool.
4 or 5 marks, you should be able to get a pass. Okay, so vectors. I guess for this one, you probably didn't do it because at
No,
the time we
didn't, yeah.
we
Just-
hadn't finished it.
Mhm.
So let's see. Yeah, that'd be a good revision for what we've learned today. So express RP in terms of F, G, and H. So all these are vectors, remember. So vector F, vector G, vector H. So I've got F going that way, G going that way, and H going up. RP, I'm going from R to P. That's what I'm looking for. How can I get from R to P using F, G, and H? So first of all, G is here, but G is there too. You've got the same G from both sides there. I've got F going that way. F is here as well. Okay. So now to go from R to P, I can go against G. Yeah. If I'm going from R to S, S to T, and T to P. So I can use these. Do you see R? I'm going to go from R to S, from S to T, and from T to P, because I've just now started writing what I've got. So against G means minus G. Against F is minus F. And going to the same direction as H becomes plus H. So that's you. You've got your marks there. So let's see if we got it okay. So RP is RQ plus QT plus TP. So RQ is minus F, QT is minus G. So minus F minus G plus H. So we've used a different path, but we still got the same answer. Yeah. TP is H. Maybe we could have added that there. Okay.
Yeah.
And like I said, when you use vectors like this, remember you go RQ to QT. So those Q cancel each other. That is RT. And then RT plus TP, the T cancel each other. That's RP. So you know that what I've written here is RP.
Yeah.
So that's a quick way to check that your vectors are going along the way, because at the end of the day, what we're looking for is a path from this point to this point using any points that we want along the line as long as we reach that point eventually. So we went RQ, which is opposite of F, plus QT, which is opposite of G, and then we went up TP, which is just H. Okay.
Okay.
4-2. So in the old days, when it used to be ent2 instead of nat5, they had like multiple choice questions, and this is probably one that belongs to some of these old days where you had to do not eeny, miny, mo, obviously, but trying to figure out which one is correct. Okay, so two things. Whenever I've got a line, I know the line has got a gradient. A line going up, we've always said that was a positive gradient. So I'm going to try and go by elimination. The gradient is what we said, mx plus c, right? As m. So straight away, I know that b is wrong because I've got a negative gradient. Yeah. So now I'm going to be looking at the other ones. Oh, maybe I should have said that's not an mx plus c, that's mx squared. So that should be taken away as well. Mx squared would give you a quadratic, sorry, x squared here, whereas a line is mx. So I'm down to two, either A or C. What is the y-intercept? It's this value here. So is the y-intercept here positive or in the negative y?
Positive.
Positive. It's going up.
So positive is the gradient. So we found that.
Oh, wait, sorry.
Oh, no, because it's
Oh, it's
negative
actually, yeah, it's going down.
Yeah.
underneath.
So
Aye.
yeah, it's underneath here. So that means this is the negative side is here. So I'm cutting the y-axis on the negative part of y. So the only way to do that is to have a negative y-intercept. So my only option is the one that is left. Okay. So you go by elimination. So mx plus c with c negative, looking at that graph. And to do that, you need a positive and a negative. And the only one that has got a positive and a negative is C. I nearly fell for it because I didn't realize that I had an x square, but reading through it a couple of times, you notice straight away, this is not x, this is x square. Okay. Next, find the longest side. Okay, so Pythagoras.
Yep.
Rings a bell. Longest side square is one of the short side square plus the other one side square added together. And if I take the square root of that, I get my longest side.
Yeah.
So you write this if you want, c square equal a square plus b square. So usually when you do that, you would put a wee comment here that this is what you call c, your longest side, and you can pick a and b, any of the two. It doesn't matter which order. If you do that, you're halfway there. So that would give you a mark because whoever's going to see this knows that you remembered Pythagoras. So once you do that, then your answer is C is square root of 1 square plus 7 square. So they've asked me to give the answer as a surd in its simplest form though. Yeah. So 49 plus 1 is 50. 50, half it. Yeah, 2 times 25. That's the first thing. If you can't remember that it's got 25, just half the number. It's even divided by 2. If it was a multiple by 3, I would divide it by 3. Okay. So 25, get it out the square root, it becomes 5. 5 root 2
meters.
And yeah, I don't think you get penalized if you forget the unit, but it's good to show that you've noticed that they're all in meters. Okay. Next question was to do with solving. So I've got solving and what we call an equation. But before we can even start to solve, we need to get rid of the brackets. Yeah. So solving means I'm going to have to end with x on its own somewhere and the other number on the other side. So how do we process with this? First thing first, to get your first mark, -2 times 1. The mistake that we see, people forget the negative, and -2 times +3 is, so I need to get here 2 negative, -2, -6x is less than 39. 11 minus 2, that's 9. Then I've got it written like this. So now I don't like when I see negative x's. But I know that if I push it on the other side, it becomes positive. So why don't I do that then? Why don't I move 6x on the other side? But to get the 39 on the other side as well, it's going to become negative. So 9 minus 39 is less than 6x. And that means I don't need to worry about which way my inequation is going. So 9 minus 39, that's -30.
-30.
Divide by 6, which is just -5. And you just write your answer as like this. X is greater than -5. Or sometimes people write it -5 less than x or x. These are exactly the same thing. Okay. And if you had 5 seconds, you had finished this, for example, you come back to it and say, oh, can I quickly check if this is correct? The easiest number is 0. If I pick x equals 0, 0 is greater than -5, right? Plug 0 here. 3 times 0 is 0. 2 times 1 is -2. So 11 minus 2 is 9. 9 is smaller than 39. So you've quickly checked with one value that you've got a good chance of getting this answer correctly. Okay, whereas if I had it the other way around, that x is less than -5, and I try 0 and it didn't work. No, so you wouldn't be able to try 0. You've got to try something less than -5, which is -6 or -7. And that wouldn't work. That would tell me somewhere I've made a mistake, okay? That's the way you would do it. Next one, I've got 2 tan x plus 5 equal -4. To get my first mark, I need to solve this equation. 2 tan x equal -4 minus 5. So you take away 5 from both sides. 2 tan x equal -9. Then you divide by 2 both sides. That's your first mark. Just writing that, leaving it in fractions like this, you've got your first mark. Now, tan x is negative. Where is tan negative? Where is no A or where is no T. That means it's in this quadrant here and in this quadrant here. And I know that this quadrant is going to have 180 minus theta here and 360 minus theta. So I need to find the positive angle associated with tan x if tan x had been positive. So to do that, you find inverse tan of that positive 9/2, 77.5. And you just plug that there, 180 take away 77.5, and 360 take away 77.5 are my two answers. Okay, so that would be 1, 2, 3 mark. Oh, look at the mistake that I've made. See, if you don't read the question properly, look what happened.
You did 360.
Yep.
minus.
Because we're so used to being asked to solve an equation, a trig equation, where the answer is between 0 and 360, our eyes tend to draw us towards what we always seen, and this is where we fall apart. And the book that I got it from got it wrong, and I can't believe I even got it wrong after finding out one day that this was wrong. So the correct answer is x equal 102.5. We don't need to do this one because that is more than 180. Okay. So if this was 4 marks and I had put the 2 there, I would only get 3, unfortunately. For something as trivial as not reading or assuming. We're very good at assuming. So that's why sometimes I tend to tell folks, when you do a bit of revision, it's good to revise a topic that you struggle with, but don't do too many, because your brain will start to tune into the same thing. Okay, and it's not going to become useful. So it's better to do a bit less. I guess sometimes they tell you if you eat a bit less and more along the day, it's probably better than having big meals. We still get big meals, but okay. But it's the same thing. Okay, so 46 we'll do that next time. So next week we'll go through this kind of work when we do the last topic. 47 is multiplying out brackets. So when I've got here 2 set of brackets with 3 on one side, because I've got 2 here, I need to find 6 terms. And those 6 terms, the first 3 will give me the first mark, and the second 3 will give me the second mark. So 3x times x squared, 3x cubed, 3x times negative 4x, negative 12x squared, plus 9x, plus 2x squared, minus 8x, 2 marks. And now to get the third mark, you just tidy up, group the likes. Usually the first one with an x cubed and the last one will stay the same. And it's what's in between that will change. Okay. Next question, we've got an increase over 7 years. So I need to find my multiplier factor, and I'm going to put it to the power 7.
Did we
So
not do a question like this? Was that last week or the week before?
Yeah.
See that one, 47,
Really
that's
similar?
not bad.
Yeah, very similar. So you'll find that in these questions, some will come back.
Mhm.
So you'll have type of question that comes back just to see if you had struggled the first time, are you still struggling the second time? If you do that, then you go, okay, I need probably to revise that lesson a wee bit more.
Yeah.
Okay. So 64.1 million is going to increase. So the way I put my factor, so you can say, okay, it's 1 plus 3%, right? What's 3%? 0.03.
0.03 divided by.
So you're going to do 1 plus 0.03. So you could do it that way. The other thing I've seen done, and some of my students told me that they get less mistake when they do this. They go, I've got 100 plus 3 because it's 103%, but 103% you need to divide by 100. And that's the multiplying factor that you're going to have to put to the power of 7 here and put the 64.1 in front. So if you write this in your calculator, you will get the correct answer. 100% plus 3%, that's 103%. And that should give you the correct answer because 103% is 1.03. So if you get the habit of writing it like this, if one day instead of 3%, you get a 0.25%, for example, you're not going to get it wrong because you're going to say it's 100 plus 0.25 divided by 100. Okay. So plug that in your calculator and you should have the correct answer. 1 plus 3% of to the power 7s equals 78.8349 ... And now I'm going to decide, because it was one decimal given to start with, I'm just going to give it to one decimal, or they've started with 3 significant figures, you can give it with 3 significant figures. You get the same answer. Okay. So either use this method or this method. It's up to you. Whichever you find stick into your head better. So the square below has side length y. If the diagonal is 6 meters, find the exact length of y. Yeah, so you would come here and do a bit of drawing. That is y. Sorry, that is 6 meters. This is a square. So I've got y and y. Yeah?
Yep.
Pythagoras tells me that 6 square is y square plus y square. What's y square plus y square? How many squares have we got?
Y to the power of 4. Y squared plus y squared. Yeah, y to the power.
So y to the power of 4 is y square times y
Times
square.
y squared, but if you're yeah, okay.
So how many? Yeah, so if you add them, you've got 2 of
y
them.
squared.
Yeah.
Yes, two y's. The powers are to separate entity.
Yeah. So basically now I've got 36 divided by 2 equal y square. So you take your calculator if you want, because that's 18. Then y is just square root of 18. So if it's a calculator question, you don't do 2 times 9, which is 3 root 2. So if they ask you to give your answer as a third, then you put 3 root 2. But if you want, you can do the calculation. So 6 over root 2. So it's the way I've done it, it's much easier. 3 root 2, because I know root 18 is just root 9 times root 2. Yeah?
Yep.
That's 3 root 2. I could have done it this way with the blue way. Here I went 6 is square root of y square plus y square, square root of 2y square, y root 2, then divide by root 2 both sides and just change all this to get. So this was a non-calculator question. Okay. Now for this, I've been asked to show that 1 minus cos square A. So whenever you're going to have a question like this, trig identity, you need to write that cos square plus sine square equal 1. Yeah. That means sine square
Divided by
is 1 minus cos square. I've just moved the cos square on the other
I
side.
just made it across, so it's negative.
So now I know 1 minus cos square is sine square. You replace that 1 minus cos square with sine square. So you get sine square A divided by cos square A. And the other trig identity that you know is that tan is just sine
over
of a
cos.
cos.
So you simplify it essentially, don't you?
Yep.
Yeah, you cut out the, yeah.
So now you've just proven that because tan is sine of a cos, this is just sine of a cos, sine A of a cos A square, and that is tan square. So you've proven that the left-hand side is equal to the right-hand side. And that's you. You get the
I need
mark
to-
that way.
Do you think they'll come up, those questions, or?
Yeah, so trig identity, you could have some, you get sometime.
Mhm.
It's not the most common.
Aye, I need to remember that.
So just two of them. The
Probably not.
first one is this one, and the second one is this one. So you've got two of them.
Just shuffle about.
And then you just prove that the left-hand side is equal to the right-hand side by doing it that way. Okay.
Mhm.
So let's go through the last. We'll do the last 5 ones, and that'll be us.
Make it top heavy.
Yep. So whenever you've got to multiply two fractions, you make it top heavy. The second one. So to make the second one top heavy, it's 9 times 2, 18 plus 2. That's 20 over 9. And then to multiply two fractions, you multiply the numerator and then you multiply denominators. So you get 5 times 20, which is 5 times 4 times 5. And 12 is just 4 times 3 times 9, just to make it easier for you to simplify. Yeah. Or you can just say 20 divided by 12, that's 10 over 6. You've got multiple ways of doing it. And eventually you get 25 over 27. And that we can't simplify that. Okay. So question I found as well quite tricky for some is this kind of question. So a straight line has gradient 4. So basically they've told us m equals 4. And because m equals 4, we've learned that when you get 2 points, oops, what's going on here?
He's got mind of its own tonight.
Adrian,
No.
you need a glass of wine one night, Adrian.
I think he's had a glass of wine, that's the
I think you
problem.
had a glass of wine.
Oh, what happened there?
Let's see.
Oh, it was just, I pressed on those wee thing, there's a wee button. So the button on it went mad. So m equals 4. But then you need to write down what is x1, y1.
You find the gradient, don't you?
Yeah, x2, y2.
You need to find the value.
And the gradient is vertical divided by horizontal. So it's going to be the y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1.
Yep.
So once you do that, you just plug y2, which is a, minus 4 divided by 1 minus 2. So a minus 4 divided by 1 minus 2, we've been told that is equal to 4 because that's m. And if you simplify, the 1 minus 2 is just minus 1. Then you end up with, you time by -1 both sides of the equation, you get a minus 4 equal minus 4. That means a has got to be equal to 0. So a equal to 0. Because you add 4 on each side, basically, here. To get this, you would just say, if I add plus 4 here, that cancel each other. And if I add plus 4 here, 4 minus 4 is just 0. Okay? So 2410 would be the solution for the line to pass through those 2 points.
The parents.
So if I'm asked to evaluate this, 2 to the power 0, any number to the power 0 is 1. And then 3 to the power -1 is just 1/3. So 1 plus a third is just 1 1/3. You can write it as easy as that, or 3 times 1 plus 1, which is 4/3. Okay, 3/3 plus 1/3, 4/3. So you can write it like that, or write 4/3. That's this. You get the same mark. Okay. Change the subject. So to change the subject of the formula, we need to isolate u² first, and then after that we'll take the square root, because that's the opposite of squaring. So v² minus 2as equal u², or u² equal v², and then you take the square root of that, square root of v² minus 2as, and that's u. Okay.
Yep.
So now for the last one for today, I've got a sine wave straight away because it starts at 0. The sine
Sine.
wave goes up to 5, so my amplitude is going to be 5.
Y equals 5 sine.
And if you've got 120, that means you can put 3 of them within 360.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the cycles.
So yeah, 5 sine 3x. That's how you would do them, okay? So you would write A is the amplitude. Don't need to write all this, by the way. 5 minus 5 divided by 2. It's just, you look at it, it goes from 0 to 5 on that side, 0 to -5 on that side. And the period, 120. So that means you can fit 3 of them within 360. And you just write 5 sine 3x. Okay. So we've done more than half the questions. Still got another less than half to do.
Let us know how your senior Nat 5s do tomorrow with these.
Oh, yeah, if they've started it, that'd be a good question. No, I'm
they're
giving
probably
them.
not even.
After questions might get a bit difficult.
I'm giving them the prelim back, Kirsty. I got out of 22 students, I got 2 passes.
Yeah, that's a
The same
classic.
feeling we had.
No, it was no a different one. It was a bit. I would say it was a bit harder. Oh, they had 2 papers. Yeah, same. But 1C, 1D. Oh, sorry, 1A, 1C, a couple of Ds, and 18 failed. So it's going to be interesting to go through that tomorrow with them.
Do you think you expected that or not?
Oh, when they came out, they looked at me, half of them were asking me, oh, can we drop Nat 5 and just do the units now? And I'm saying, oh, okay, guys,
Yeah,
it's not going to be that straightforward, but
not at this time of year. But you must have been looking at your PT just going like that, or just your curriculum just going like that, just shaking your head, just utterly.
Yeah, he's even more worried that if it was worse with his hires.
Jeez Louise.
So, yeah.
Well, I mean, to ask, see how you'd said about we need to go on, take steps for the.
Oh, yeah, we don't have to. Apparently, it's only to confirm if. Yeah, if you get extra time. So people with extra times or special arrangement, they're the one who needs to contact, I think, the school.
That's my fault. I picked up the message wrong. I misinterpreted it. Then I put it on the group chat, and I apologise. That's my fault.
To be honest, I wasn't too sure as well.
No, right. I've had to take my 2 days. Well, take my holidays today. So, well, I've applied for them, so fingers crossed. Otherwise, it'll be a sickie.
I've not even put it in yet because
I've got the COVID that day.
I've put in this. I've started this new job. I don't even know who people are. I'm still trying to get like my work phone set up and like everything sorted. I've got not a clue when I'm going to have to do it next week because it's like the end of April next, end of the month, and then we're in May. It's like.
Yeah, nobody speak to me in May. I'll be stressed out.
I'm not. I'm just going to be barricading myself in after work. But yeah. Hopefully it'll be straightforward in and out. But it's not too much of a gap between paper 1 and 2, is there? I'm trying to remember.
Not that much, no.
Like,
it used to be the year I did it. I think it was like 15 minutes, half an hour maybe,
I think
Yeah.
it's half an hour, if I
Yeah,
remember
it's,
right.
something like
it's
that.
about,
Yeah.
it's no, it's 45.
Okay.
Enough time to,
To grab something to eat or something,
yeah.
lunch
And
in
then,
between.
yeah.
All right. So that's us for today.
That is.
Done some revision. We've finished vectors. So like I said, only statistics to go.
And
That
then
means
that's it.
we've covered the
Yep.
whole NAT5 topic.
Wow.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I
your
think-
pen still survives through it, Adrian. It's still
Oh, I know.
if that gets
Still
through it,
time. There's still
that
time.
gets through it, then we're all laughing.
It's me arguing with the wife that my 10 years old MacBook Pro is perfect physically, but because it's software versus hardware,
Yeah, it doesn't
they
work.
would make you buy any rubbish to get you through buying more of these, which is
Yeah.
a waste.
They do that
Because
with iPhones. They do that with
Yeah.
Apple products.
every
Macs.
product on this planet,
I'm on a MacBook as well, and this thing it's temperamental. I treat it like it's like a child. I don't mess about with it unless I,
yeah.
don't do it.
I
but
bought a
very-
software to clean it regularly, but I think my hard drive is probably full now, and there's so
Yeah.
many things in it. But it's a shame because there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with the hardware. But
Yeah,
now I
it's
can't download the new Microsoft Office for Excel and stuff because it's
just
too
to
old.
buy the next.
So you've got to buy the next model. Which is a shame, but
Yeah.
it's the
There you go.
society of consumption we've been used to for the past 50 years. It's gonna come to
Exactly.
an end.
Well, hopefully your seniors don't totally ruin your day tomorrow. But
No, I think no.
I'm looking forward to
know.
this update next
I know,
Thursday.
I'm desperate to hear.
They
You
know.
just can just be like walking into the staff room at lunchtime and just be like, I just had that. They're just they're not getting anywhere.
I know.
But it's tough, especially when they don't pick up a book over the whole bloody lockdown. Like, what chance do you stand as a teacher?
And I've still got to finish
It's not easy.
stats with them, and there was another thing we need to finish, and I'm going like, is there any point? Because the more you're going to teach, the less they'll pick up. So is it not better to consolidate stuff so that they can get something? But yeah, I don't even know.
Aye.
But we've got 3 classes of senior NAT5, and apparently mine is not the worst. So there you go.
Jeez. Wow, really me.
We'll see. All
Your
right.
colleagues must be like, get me out of here. Yeah, no, thanks, Adrian, again.
No
Thank you very
worries.
much.
Yeah.
And stop sharing. I need to end the recording.